we started a little motto, and I can't remember where it came from. I didn't come up with the motto, but we took it and ran with it, and that was people over paychecks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Built Local Conversations with Community Leaders. I'm your host, Nick Bour. We have people on the show that are building, growing, really looking to make a difference within the local community. And I'm really excited to have our first episode and welcome our guest, Tina Peterson.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Yes. So Tina, talk to us. You know, you are everything real estate. So you lead the Tina Peterson team.
I do.
So take us back to the beginning, and how did you first get into real estate, and when did you realize that this could become something bigger than just being a realtor?
So I started real estate in 2009, and I always wanted to do something. I'm a very sky's always blue in my world person, and so I always wanted to do something that I felt was going to be a transition in people's lives. And my first thought was I would love to do something involved in people getting married.
Okay.
It didn't work out that way. I started doing real estate, and that actually is most of the time a happy transition. Sometimes not so much, but it's definitely an important time in people's lives.
Of course, yeah.
So, I got back in 2009. I started doing real estate. One of the things that I was probably the most disappointed in when I got into real estate is real estate agents' reputation. It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and that was one of the things that I set my mind the very first year to try to change. Only one person, but I do feel like even that thought process in the beginning is how you treat people. That was the way I was raised. You treat people the way you want to be treated. So, the dishonesty and the salesmanship and stuff like that was the reputation of real estate agents. So that was my goal, was to better our reputation and bring a good side back to it and help people. So that's kind of the foundation of how I got started.
I think that's great, because I think you are right. I don't disagree with you in the fact of the reputation of real estate agents isn't always the greatest. And I think one of them is what you say is not only, I think it's great, and I live by the same philosophy as treat people how you want to be treated.
Yes.
But I think there's so much to real estate agents can sometimes have that reputation of, well, you just want to earn a commission. It's all about the sale. It's the salesmanship, as you said. So I think it's very important that you show people you care and that you're really trying to make an impact on this next phase in their life, whether it's buying or selling a new home, whether it's their first, second, final. I don't think that really matters.
Right.
So,
and people can see. They can see if you're just doing something to be a salesperson, or if you're doing something because you genuinely care.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
I think people have really gotten in tune with that, especially over the last 5 to 10 years. Like they can kind of read you and see right through it. Like, exactly. Hey, if you're just in this for the sales piece of it and just to earn the money, they're going to end up seeing through that, and they're going to say, you're really not the right fit for me.
Yes, that is true. And we started a little motto. And I can't remember where it came from. I didn't come up with the motto, but we took it and ran with it.
Okay.
And that was people over paychecks.
Okay.
Like, what is more important in the transaction? Is it getting that paycheck at the end of the deal, or is it helping people along the way? And that was the philosophy. And I built my team like that. I started, it was all about customer service. And, as entrepreneurs, we always want to do everything ourselves.
Of course.
Nobody else can do it as good as I do it. And then as the business grew and grew and grew, it got to the point to where you can't service everybody. There's not enough hours in the day. Yeah. So that's when I started growing the team. And I decided that when I grew the team, I was going to continue that same philosophy. Like, I have people come to me every week wanting to join the team. If I don't feel like they have the same ethics, the same work strategy, the same caring about people, because in the end, it's my reputation. Yeah. That's how I grow the team. Like, every person on my team, I can 150% get behind because they have the same philosophies.
I think there's definitely something to that as well, because as you said, as entrepreneurs, you really want to do everything yourself. Yeah. like you said, not only because you think no one can do it better, but also it's like, oh, by the time I train or teach that person, I could already had it done, no big deal.
Yes.
I'm just going to go ahead and handle it. Same thing. I think as an entrepreneur, we all feel that way. So I think it's great that you've built your team around people that have the same beliefs, integrity, trust. I care about people, and it shows. That's more than likely why you've built the team the way you have, and you're successful the way you are.
For sure.
So, again, we're talking about this already, but you've turned it into a major presence in especially Livingston County, which anyone that knows Livingston County knows there is a lot of realtors in Livingston County.
Yeah.
So to say you're a major presence, what do you think is the biggest key? I know we talked a little bit about the team already, but what do you really think deep down in the last, call it 15 plus years that you've really got into real estate, built the team, and where you're at today? How have you really done that to differentiate?
So I feel like in this business, we meet so many different people every day. And they're different people from all walks of life, different people with different careers. And I think that is probably one of the most interesting things is to hear I love to ask people, what do you do? And then they say something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was anything.
Right.
So you have a lot of connections. And I started back in 2016 when I first started the team. I started interviewing different community people. And it started with, I represented a lot of veterans. And one of my veterans said, oh, you have to interview this nonprofit. And so I interviewed the executive director of Blue Star Service Dogs.
Okay.
That was back in 2016, which is how I got involved with them. Wow. So I do believe the success comes from treating the people the way that you would want to be treated. Looking at the person, everybody's got a story, and connecting people and being involved in the community. And when success comes, you have a bigger platform. When you have a bigger platform, what do you do with it? Like my parents raised me to give back to your community.
Make a difference.
Make a difference. Yep. Leave the world a little bit better place than it was when you came. So I interviewed the executive director of Blue Star Service Dogs. At the time, it was called Stiggy's and has now changed. And I was just absolutely incredibly touched by the things that they do. So as we evolved, I started doing fundraisers, and then I became a board member, and then now I'm president of the board.
Wow.
And so I feel like it used to be like, what is Blue Star Service Dogs? I feel like a lot of people know what it is now. We've really done the marketing on it. But Blue Star Service Dogs rescue shelter dogs, and we have prison training programs to train them to be service dogs for veterans and first responders.
Okay.
It is an incredible organization, and the stories that are involved with the veterans and the first responders and the dogs, and we say rescuing one to heal another. Yeah. And so it's literally rescuing rescue dogs. And I have a flunky, I call him. They told me to stop calling him that I have to call him a career change dog.
Okay, all right.
So, but I've had him for 5 years. He is the best dog we've ever had. He is a great dog. He just has a lot of energy, and he has a foot fetish. He is obsessed with feet. So he's one of those dogs that he will sit with his butt up in the air, and when you move your foot, he's like, boom.
Okay.
So, you can't give him to a veteran if he's going to be tripping him up.
Right.
That's not what they're there for. But the things that these dogs do for the veterans is the most amazing thing. They literally give them a life back. So I got involved with that, and from there, I thought this is awesome, and I started interviewing different companies and different people in the community that are doing incredible things.
Yeah.
And it just grew from there. And it gives you a platform to help small businesses and nonprofits and, different people doing different things that you would never even consider. So it gives you that opportunity to connect them, to support their business, to bring them in for fundraising things, and just make the community a better place.
I think not only is that empowering to me, but I just think about that, like you said, we want to give back, we want to leave the world a little bit better than when you came here. And it's, unfortunately, I think some of the entrepreneurial community, but also some of the specific professions, they don't always think about things like that. They get wrapped up in their business and what they're doing or their professions. And I think that's so admirable that you've really taken to that organization and you've been involved with them. It sounds like 10 years now?
Yes. Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's important to give back. Again, you probably focus is what it sounds like. Do you do real estate outside of Livingston, or do you really hone in on Livingston?
So no, we do a lot of real estate. It's usually Oakland, Washtenaw, and Livingston, a little bit of Ingham County also. But when I grew the team, that was one of the things we did. Like, you have people who are here that move here, but they're selling a house in a different area.
Makes sense.
So, you want to know somebody, or you want to know the area. That, I think, just the experience gives you, the time gives you experience, right? You've sold enough homes in that area. Like, I've done a ton in Plymouth, and I've done a ton in Royal Oak, enough to where I can, I recognize streets even.
Okay.
So when I started growing the team, that was one of the things that I did. I'm like, I have an agent in Livonia. I have an agent in Weberville. So I started making sure that we have that presence in areas where if I have someone call me and they say, I'm going to be selling my house in Heartland, which is kind of close, but in Royal Oak, let's say that one, that's a better one.
Okay.
Then I can say, yes, I have an agent in that area that can help you.
Wow.
So, it's helping people. We want to be able to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I know, and to your thought there about the community, one of the things somebody told me one time was, marketing is what you say about yourself. The reviews is what other people say about you. And that's one of the things that I go to like, what can I do for people that they will want to give me a review?
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so it's being involved in the community. We do a ton of fundraisers. We have a large presence. The better the community does, the better the small businesses do, the better everybody does.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that. I think that, especially this community in Livingston County, I think a lot of it has been built on the backbone of small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and we've grown a lot, but it's still a small town feel, I think.
Yes.
It really is.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. I mean, you've watched communities like Brighton and Howell and South Lyon, and you've watched them and the surrounding areas changed over the years, especially, you're talking about a decade plus that you've been doing this, and there's been a lot of changes just overall in Michigan, but especially in these areas. What changes do you think have surprised you the most over the last 10 plus?
Well, obviously building subdivisions and condo complexes and businesses and that kind of stuff grows. It seems like fast, but I know I have a son who is an engineer.
Okay.
And I always say, it seems like it's fast to us, but like to my grandson, it doesn't seem like it's fast to him. And my son has this philosophy that's because we've been on Earth so long that, half of his life is only 4 years. So it seems like longer than it is, but it goes by really fast with the development. Like, you'll go by a corner where there's, it's all grass and trees. And then, 6 months later, there's an apartment building. So that development, and people have a hard time with change. Yeah. So it's very controversial, right? Like, we need more space. We don't have enough housing. But I think that's too why things like I told you, I grew up in South Lyon.
Okay.
And South Lyon was a totally different landscape than it is right now.
Yeah.
So, but I think, the further out that people go, the further out the rural areas get, and people move there to stay in those kind of areas. That's where they want to grow up.
Yeah.
Or raise their kids. So
I think there's something said about that as well. Like, as people have, myself included, as people have moved out to, more space, rural areas, well, like you said, we need more houses. And all of us, even in, you move to a rural area for that, even though we may say 4 or 5 years later, oh, it's built up so much, we don't want it to build anymore. We can all understand, if you're looking at houses at all right now, there's still a shortage of inventory.
Yeah. And I just posted a house the other day, and it was kind of funny because I got a comment on it, and I was going on the marketability of the price of the home because it was $275,000, and you can't find homes.
I was going to
for-
say, if that's
Yeah.
a good price.
Yeah, and one of the comments was, "It's really sad that that is considered affordable," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you think about that in
Yeah.
retrospect. I mean, I think about what we bought our house for in Heartland when we bought it. You know, that's been over 15 years ago now, and I'm like, wow. And look at like what houses are selling for, even the same type of house, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like it's really evolved a ton.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I feel like the marketing too. Marketing has evolved. That's one of the things that used to be just listed, just sold. Like, look what I did.
Yeah.
Now it's more stories. It's more about, and that was how I got into doing some of the interviews with the community people and people who are doing good things in our community.
Yeah.
Is why do you want to live here? What are the things that attract you to living here?
Yeah.
It's not so much about the house anymore. It's about what is the community like.
It's interesting you say that because that kind of transitions to kind of the next question. What do you think makes Livingston County especially attractive for people wanting to move to or raise a family or even run or open a business?
Yeah. So I feel like the downtown areas are fabulous. They are big enough to where you can have adequate shopping. A lot of small business stores and entrepreneurs doing things, but yet you still have that small town feel. So I do still feel like I can walk into a restaurant and I see somebody I know.
Yeah.
You're walking down the street. I have people beep at me with their horn when you're walking down the street.
Yeah.
So you don't get that so much in, the more metro areas.
Yeah.
We still do get that here. But yet we have all of the amenities that we need for the businesses and the shopping, and the downtown areas are incredible. I think one of my favorite things about the downtown areas is all the unique shops. It's not a lot of like corporate businesses. There are a lot of small businesses.
It's interesting you say that because I think about, even what was it, a year or two ago that they did all the construction in downtown Brighton, and all of us were complaining about it. Oh, this is horrible. You're tearing up the roads, and we can't get down there. We got to walk like from 3 blocks away. And I totally agree. You look at now, downtown Brighton is amazing, but you also think about all the small businesses. There's no corporate feel. There's no chains down there. They're all sole or individually owned businesses. And I think for a lot of us, especially in today's day and age, I know for me, if I can shop local or shop small business, that's what I do because I would rather support the local entrepreneur than support the corporation.
Yeah, and the community supporting each other, like the businesses.
Yeah.
It's not like a competition, like, oh, you're my competition, I can't talk to you or I can't associate with you. Like everybody gets together and does things together. They do, street sales and they do festivals and everybody is involved. It's such a tight community, I think. And there's not, like I feel that way about Brighton, South Lyon, Fowlerville is growing, but they're the same way. Howell, they're all the same way. Like businesses support businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think that's so important because like you said, it still feels like small town. So when you feel small town, you don't want it to feel corporate or bigger companies. You want it to feel, oh, there's Joe who runs the printing shop, or here's Steve who runs this business over here. And like you said, people beep at you. You want to be able to say hi because you're going to run into someone you know.
Yeah.
So I think those are all good points.
Yeah.
So building the successful team, you have, it's very different from just being a successful individual agent. And you've talked already about how important it was when you were building the team for values, integrity, and beliefs that they would align with you. What do you think you've learned about leadership and leading the team as that's grown and evolved over the last decade?
So one of the things that I like to say, like the team will say, let me talk to my boss. And I'm like, I'm not your boss. I don't want to be your boss. I love the idea of teaching people about values and the things that are important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think that is important in the business. Talking about the involvement of marketing. So AI, like people are going, I don't want to do videos.
Yeah.
Let's create this AI, avatar.
Yeah.
And to me, AI and you have to be on top of technology because it's important in real estate. But AI is a great tool, but it's not supposed to replace the human being. You've got to have the emotions. You have to understand what people are going through. AI can't sit across from somebody who has just lost their dad and selling their house, right? That's where you need the humanization. So I do think that's important. It's just values. It's that was the way I was raised, and I think we go back to that, and we have to have those small values that, as you're growing up, become larger in the big picture. Yeah.
I think that's a big factor in what you just said as well, because I do, myself included, I do think AI can be a great tool.
Yeah.
I do not think AI will ever replace that personal touch, that relationship that people thrive for and need when you're talking about a transaction like real estate.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, well, I'm starting a family, moving the family. My spouse and I are moving to what we feel are going to be our final phase and our final place in life for our house, our home. Those are all things that you can't have AI do. You have to have that personal connection.
Yeah.
Because again, there are so many options for the public and consumers out there. They've got to feel that not only you're looking out for their best interest, but what does make you different? What makes you want to go above and beyond? Like, not all realtors will do that.
Yeah.
And I think you've said it best, is that, it's values, it's integrity, it's what you were raised on, but also what you've grown as you've matured and you've grown your team. Just, that's such an important factor.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've said to my team over and over again, and it's a great lesson, is a lot of your reputation is built in deals where you're not making any money. Like when you're doing something just because it's the right thing to do, or just because it's something that person needs, not expecting a paycheck out of it.
Yeah.
I have done so many deals where I've told them not to sell. It's not the right time for you. Like, let's talk about this. Like, where are you going to go? And it talks you right out of a paycheck.
Yeah.
But it's the right thing to do. And let me tell you, people understand that was something that you did from the heart, not something you did to make a paycheck.
And they remember.
And they remember.
Because if it's not them needing to make a decision to move or buy or sell, it's my cousin, my brother, my sister, my parents, my friends, anyone that's going to stick here.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
And I call those cheerleaders. Those are our cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time. I'm constantly putting things out there about, having some fabulous cheerleaders.
The interesting thing, so you refer to them as cheerleaders. In my business, we call them raving fans.
Yeah.
So I think there's different phrases, different words, but they all mean the same thing.
Yes.
So
yes.
What do you think one of the biggest misconceptions of buying or selling a home is, and that you wish people maybe understood before they started the process?
I always say people should be a real estate agent before they're allowed to buy or sell. I know, and again, it is, so we tell people are saying they're going to interview because this is the largest investment usually that somebody has.
100%.
And so I always say, like, understand that when I tell you something, and I'm not going to say there aren't other people that are like this, but when I tell you something, I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm not going to tell you something just to get the sale. There are a lot of agents, and we call them buying the listing.
Yep.
Like we might go interview for a listing, and they will give them some astronomical number that they can sell their house for.
Yeah.
And so, what I want people to know when it is involved selling, understand that your value is what someone's willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so the marketing is going to be what sells it. So it's not some agent saying, I can get $50,000 more for your house than this agent. That's not the way it works unless they're putting the marketing into it.
Yeah.
So, just understanding the market and understanding that when you're interviewing people, understanding that the agent, and this is the one thing when we talked about having a lot of agents in Livingston County.
Yeah.
I do this every day. We closed 70 properties last year. That's not like a kudos. That's not like a look what I did.
Right.
That is I've had the experience to be able to handle the problems before they become problems.
Yeah.
So there's a lot involved. It's ever changing. There's never two deals that are the same. So because of that, we have the experience. When you have somebody who does 1 or 2 deals a year, that's a large transaction to trust somebody with that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure that your agent understands where they are.
Yeah.
They understand the community, they understand the housing market, but they also understand how to get through a transaction from beginning to end and get it there without, and I always say, my job is to make you the most amount of money with the least amount of stress. So there's something to that. Like, people freak out about stuff like that. It's a hard thing to go through.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think most people come into buying or selling a home with already having certain anxiety of
Yes.
saying, are we going to get what we want? I can't get the walkout basement, or I can't get the 3-car or 2-car garage.
Yeah.
Well, that's really what I wanted. Do we really want to buy, or what do we want to do? Do we want to wait?
Yeah.
All of those things, I think, are like you said, being able to keep that stress level, get you the most money, or if you're buying, helping a buying couple or individual, how can I help get you the best value or the best price with the least amount of stress?
Yeah.
Makes
And I
sense.
do feel like there's a pretty good community of real estate agents. Like, we have a pretty tight knit. I when I have something coming up, I've got a group of agents that I'll reach out to and say, hey, I got this coming up. You got a buyer? And they do the same thing with me.
Okay.
So, there's enough business for everybody. It's not it is competitive, but I want to say not in a mean way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think that's the fair way to put it.
Yeah.
Is that it's competitive, but not in a negative or mean way.
Right.
So,
Right.
when you think about and you look at the housing market right now, what are you seeing locally? What advice would you give someone who's nervous about making the move right now, or a move?
So that's a hard question to answer because everybody's story is different and everybody has a different reason why they're moving. So usually when I go to talk to somebody, that's the first thing I say, like, tell me your motivation. Tell me why you're moving, because that gives me a starting ground on how to advise them. Okay. I would say, like, people are asking, are we still in that market where things are going into multiple bids? The market's still strong, but I think the thing that we're having the most tough time relaying to sellers is we are not in the seller's market anymore, where you can list a house that needs all of the big ticket items done and it's not well cared for and it's not well kept, and we can't list that for top dollar, and then it's going to go flying off the market over value. A couple of years ago they were doing that.
Yeah.
Like, we were doing everything to get our offers accepted, including, hey, firstborn child, right?
Right.
So, but now, I mean, I saw some of the strangest things. People paying for the seller's moving expenses to get their offer accepted. Wow. People paying for their seller's agent commission to get their offers accepted. Like, there was a lot of things going on when we didn't have that inventory. But to understand the market and to understand, like, the houses that are in great condition, that don't need all of the expensive things done, those are maintained, those are still going off the market if they're priced right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if a seller is working with the right agent, with the right team, and they price the property appropriately, and you don't need to go in and do the roof, the HVAC, and or like windows in the first 3 to 5 years, the house is going to go
Yes.
pretty quick, and it could still go with multiple bids.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're still seeing a strong market. It's just not as strong with the homes that need some updating and
Okay.
maintenance, stuff like that.
So when you eventually look back on your career, what do you hope people remember about Tina Peterson beyond homes sold and beyond the numbers?
I would say that I cared, that I tried to give back. I tried to be a connector in the community. I tried to make sure that people felt heard, whatever the reason is, whether it's a business looking for work. I have people all the time asking me, hey, can I promote my business through you?
Yeah.
And we do have a vendor list that we say, but I will tell you, our vendor list is people that came recommended or that we've used ourselves. Like, I don't want to put somebody on there. It's, in the end, if I say, like, Real Estate One, that's one of my favorite things about Real Estate One, is that we are a one-stop shop. Like, Real Estate One owns a title company, a mortgage company, an insurance company, and then the real estate end of it. So
Okay.
But if those entities did not take care of my clients with the expectations that I have, if they weren't the best in their field, I would not recommend them.
Well, that makes
So-
sense because you have your integrity.
Yes. So, like, if I say to somebody, if I have a seller that says, "Do you have a handyman?" and I give them a handyman's name, and that handyman does a crappy job and overcharges them and leaves the house dirty, they're going to come back to me and they're going to say, "Why did you give me that person?" And that reflects on my personality. So or not my personality, but my work.
Yeah.
So the people that we recommend are people that our clients have used that said, "You need to recommend this person, they're great."
Okay.
Or that we've used ourselves. So I want to say the things to be remembered by would be supporting my community, being involved in the community. I don't want to be the real estate agent that everybody remembers because I was on a billboard.
Right.
I want to be the real estate agent that everybody remembers because I genuinely cared and helped them in some of the largest transactions in their lives.
Well,
Yeah.
that is an amazing thought, and if that is how people do remember you, you know you've left the world a little bit better, and you've left your stamp within the industry that you've worked so long and hard to build.
Yeah.
So, Tina, I can't say enough about our conversation. I just really appreciate you being on the show and taking the time. Any final thoughts or anything for our viewers?
No, just, for new agents coming on, make sure that you do what you say you're going to do. Show up, be involved. But no, I think that's it. Just be involved in your community, help the community business owners and nonprofits. One more thing that I want to give a shout out to. I am part of this group called 100 Women Who Cares.
Okay.
And we meet 4 times a year. And there's nonprofits all in Livingston County. And if there's someone there representing that nonprofit, we put a little name in the drawing, bingo card, pull them out. 3 people get to speak about their nonprofit. They talk about what the nonprofit is, who it serves, what their needs are. And then at the end of that meeting, 4 times a year, we all give a $100 check to the nonprofit that we feel is deserving. Ends up being over $10,000 4 times a year for those local Livingston County nonprofits. So those kind
Amazing.
of things, yeah. So those kind of things I'm passionate about. And if nothing else, like giving $400 a year to 4 different nonprofits, but learning about all of the nonprofits there are in our community that help people, whether it's addictions or homelessness or veteran communities. There's so many nonprofits. I feel like our community is really something to celebrate. It's a great community. Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Tina. That's amazing, and I'm so glad that you've found that organization and you guys work with nonprofits to give back and be able to make a difference in the community. So
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
my pleasure. As always, thanks to our viewers. This is Built Local, Conversations with Community Leaders, and I'm your host, Nick Bour. Until next time, thanks so much.
Yay.